people, it's me, Anja. My pronouns are she and her, and welcome back to my channel for my most anticipated 2023 new releases, which honestly, this list was easier than anticipated to narrow down, because when I was looking at my Goodreads want to read list, the majority of those 2023 new releases, I have 3 or 4 star expectations for, but for these books, I have 5-star expectations for. I really hope these books are absolutely immaculate. So anyway, without any further ado, the first book on this list is called Unseelie. For those who don't know, this book is a YA fantasy following a pair of twin sisters, one of which is autistic, which is part of the reason why I'm so excited for this book. Autism representation is so rare to find in YA fantasy stories, and I'm absolutely so excited for this story. But anyway, as I was saying, the sisters are both on the run for different reasons, and the story comes out January 3rd, 2023, so very, very soon. Anyway, I'm so excited for this book because it sounds so awesome and so well done. I've heard nothing but the best for this book, so I'm so excited for it. Not just for the autism representation, but also for the story, the characters, the plot. Like, everything about it sounds so amazing and so well done. I'm so intrigued as to why the sisters are on the run, and that's so interesting. But anyway, all that to say, this story comes out January 3rd, 2023, and I'm so excited for it. The next book on this list is called The Ever Storms. This book comes out January 31st, 2023, and I'm so excited for it because, for those who don't know, this is the 3rd book in one of my favorite middle-grade fantasy series that follows a bisexual main character, and it's written by one of my favorite authors of all time. Foody is a genius, a goddess, and a queen, and I will read absolutely everything that she writes because this series is so good. The second book in the series was one of my almost favorites of 2022, which means that I have very, very high expectations for this next installment. I'm so excited to read about these characters again, about the amazing inventive world building, about the plot. Literally, the story is so good so far. The first 2 books were so amazing, so naturally I hope that this next book is going to be absolutely so amazing, so immaculate, so genius. Literally, the series so far has always been 4 and 4.5 stars, so naturally I really hope that this story is at least 4.5 stars, if not 5. So anyway, all that to say, this story comes out January 31st, and I'm so excited to read it. The next book on this list is called Izzy at the End of the World. This story comes out February 21st, and it's a middle-grade science fiction story following a young, sapphic, autistic main character as she tries to survive the end of the world. Hence, Izzy at the End of the World. I'm so excited to read this book because, first of all, again, I'm so excited to read more about autistic main characters in other genres aside from contemporary. Autism representation in general is so rare to see, but it's especially so rare to see in other genres aside from contemporary, and as an autistic person myself, that representation is so necessary and it's absolutely so important. Second of all, I've read other books before by this author, so I trust that their writing is going to be so amazing and so well done. I'm not just reading this book for the autism representation or just for the queer representation. Like, the concept itself sounds so amazing and so cool, and the cover is so pretty. So anyway, all that to say, I'm so excited to read this book. It sounds like it's going to be so awesome and so well done. I know I don't typically read science fiction, but I trust that this author can make everything that I find to be typically confusing about science fiction so intriguing and engaging. So anyway, all that to say, this book comes out February 21st, and I'm so excited to read it. The next book on this list is called The House That Whispers. This story comes out February 28th, 2023, and I'm so excited for it because it follows a young transgender boy as he explores gender identity, family, and ghosts, and it's a middle-grade contemporary. Second of all, this author's debut, The Liars of Riverview, was one of my almost favorites of 2022, so naturally I have very, very high expectations for whatever they write next. I love stories that talk about family history, family ghosts, and I love that the main character is a triplet, so I'm so excited for those sibling dynamics. Like, it sounds so cool and so wholesome and so nuanced and just so well done. Literally, like, the author's debut was so good and absolutely so unexpectedly great. You know what I mean? Sometimes when you read an author's debut, it's not as good as you were expecting, but that book was, like, so much better. So anyway, the point is, I'm so excited for this book. It sounds absolutely so amazing and so awesome. So please keep your eyes peeled for February 28th. The next book on this list is called Camp Quiltbag. This story comes out March 21st, 2023, and it's a middle-grade contemporary following two queer main characters as they navigate their own queer identities, crushes, and camp competitions, because I believe it's set at like a summer camp or something like that. This book sounds like it's going to be so amazing and so well done. I've read and raved about so many books by these two authors that I just know that this book is going to be absolutely so good and so well done, especially in terms of the queer representation in the two main characters. I believe one of them is transgender and the other one is sapphic, and that's absolutely so exciting because I think these books are so necessary and so important, especially for everybody, but especially for like young queer youth who can find themselves in these main characters. You know what I mean? But anyway, these stories are so important, and I'm so excited to read this book because the plot, the setting, the representation, the characters, the storylines just feel so like well done, and I'm so excited to read this book, and I'm really looking forward to it, as you can probably tell. So anyway, this book comes out March 21st, if I'm not mistaken, and I'm so excited for it. The next book on this list is called Spellbound. For those who don't know, this book is a YA fantasy following two rival apprentices who must team up to save their teachers and protect their own magic. This story comes out April 4th, 2023, and I'm so excited for it. I'll talk about this more in my 2022 reading wrap-up, but honestly, when I read fantasies this past year, a great deal of them were disappointing, but the author's last book, So This Is Ever After, wasn't. So with that said, I'm so excited to read this book. It sounds like it's going to be absolutely so awesome and so well done. First of all, the cover is so pretty, and it's absolutely so vibrant. Second of all, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, the romance sounds like it's going to be so good and so well done. I believe it's a Killian, and it's male, non-binary, you know what I mean? So that sounds so exciting and so cool. Like, the concept sounds so awesome and so magical, and I trust this author so much, because like I said, their last book was so amazing and so good. So anyway, all that to say, this story sounds like it's going to be so amazing and so awesome, and it comes out April 4th, 2023. The next book on this list is called The Song of Wrath. This story comes out April 18th, 2023, and it's a YA historical fantasy sequel to The Bones of Ruin, which I really enjoyed this past year. It was absolutely so good. It's actually one of my almost favorites of 2022, so I will be talking about it in more detail later on. But anyway, this book sounds like it's going to be so good and absolutely so awesome. I don't know how to explain the synopsis to you without spoiling the first book, and the first book is absolutely so underrated that I know a lot of people haven't read it yet, but I'm just so excited to read it because the first book was so good. It was absolutely so amazing and so intriguing, and all of the elements and the plot, the characters, the world building, like the competition was so intriguing and so engaging. So naturally, I have very high expectations for the next book in this trilogy. If I'm not mistaken, like, I'm so excited for this book. It sounds like it's going to be so good and so awesome. So anyway, with all that said, this book comes out April 18th, 2023, and I'm really looking forward to it. The next book on this list is called The Year My Life Went Down the Toilet. This story comes out May 2nd, 2023, and it's a new middle-grade contemporary following a young sapphic Jewish main character as she is navigating her new recently diagnosed chronic illness. I'm so excited for this book. As I've previously discussed, I'm so excited for books for young people who are disabled, because when I was a young disabled personally, I didn't know what I was missing out on because there were so few books with disabled main characters that I didn't know like what I was missing out on, basically. So I'm so excited to read a book that I absolutely needed for my younger self. Even if we don't share necessarily the same disabilities, I don't know if that makes any sense at all, but basically I'm so excited for the representation in this book. I already trust that the Jewish and queer representation will be so good and so awesome because of the author's 2 previous books, Almost Flying and How to Excavate a Heart, which were both so good. But even aside from the representation, I trust that the author will write an absolutely awesome plot and characters and found family and like everything about it. You know what I mean? Anyway, this book sounds like it's going to be absolutely so awesome and so great. So without any further ado, this story will release May 2nd, 2023. The penultimate book on this list is called Ruby Lost and Found. This story is a middle-aged contemporary following a young Chinese main character who feels out of place and perhaps forging unexpected friendships and helping to save her family's bakery might help her set back on the right track. This story comes out May 16th, 2023, and I'm so excited for it because it's written by the same author who previously wrote Cruise to the Universe in 2021, which I really loved, and she did such a great job, like talking about grief and friendships and like characters and everything that I naturally have such high expectations for this book. I'm so excited to read it. It sounds absolutely so awesome and so great, not just for the story and the plot and the characters and everything, but I just trust that the concept will be just as great as the execution, if that makes any sense. Basically, I'm so excited for this book because it sounds like it's going to be absolutely so awesome and so emotional and so well done. So anyway, I'm really looking forward to it. And like I mentioned, it comes out May 16th, 2023. The last book on this list, and hopefully not the least, is called Never a Hero. For those who don't know, this book comes out June 8th, 2023, and it's a YA urban fantasy sequel to Only a Monster, which I really enjoyed this past year, and again was one of my almost favorites of 2022, and I'm absolutely so excited for the sequel, even though honestly I don't quite remember how Only a Monster ended, but I do remember that it was so good in terms of the time traveling, the plot, the characters, the romance, the love triangle, the family dynamics, the plot, like everything about it was so well done and so fantastic. So naturally I have very, very high expectations for this sequel. I think it's going to be absolutely so good and so awesome. Like I said, I believe the release date is June 8th, 2023, but I think that might be the Australian release date since the author is from Australia, and the American release date and the UK release date might be something different. But anyway, I don't know when it is exactly, but I'll be reading this book June 8th, 2023, because I'm so looking forward to it, and it's going to be absolutely so amazing and so well done. So, in conclusion, these are my most anticipated 2023 new releases, and I'm really looking forward to them all because I have really high expectations for my reading year of 2023, despite the fact that I'll be graduating college in May, and I'm not quite sure where I'll be in the second half of the year. But anyway, if you enjoyed this video, please don't hesitate to give it a big thumbs up. Comment down below the piano emoji if you made it all the way to the end of the video. Thanks for watching, subscribe to my channel if you're new, and I'll see you next video. Bye!